Boruto episode 16, Crisis, the Threat of Failing. Now this episode kind of started off where I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to have any interest in it, and I thought maybe it would be similar to last week's episode where it was like, okay, there are certain elements in here that I thought are, I thought there were like parts in the last episode that were good, and then a lot of the actual main focus, I was just like, I don't care about any of this. It was actually like little conversations that mattered to me, and I thought that that's where we were headed with the way this episode kind of first started off. It was like, okay, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of weight to it. Like, I knew that it was, the point of it was, of course, Iwabe and Denki, and focusing on them as to, as far as whether or not they were actually going to pass, their exams. And from the start, I was like, okay, it just seemed so normal. It seemed like so normal. Nothing seemed like it really had any weight to it or anything like that. But as things went on, I really started to love this episode. Like, especially, basically, once it was Denki and Iwabe together, and they were studying with each other, and pretty much everyone else is kind of, like, pushed out of the episode, I was like, this is actually really good. It was entertaining to watch, like, the little montage that they had, where Denki realizes that when Iwabe is, like, walking up walls, and he's focusing his chakra, it allows for him to, like, focus better. It's almost like he's using chakra, to actually enhance his learning skills. Like, it enhances his memory so he can retain stuff. And I was like, this is actually really cool. And it's one of those situations where, they are the best in the class. Like, they're both having the exact opposite issue. So Denki, of course, is like the genius as far as, academics and stuff like that. Iwabe is a genius as far as ninjutsu and, being a ninja. So it made perfect sense. It allowed for them to push everyone else out of the episode, because it's like, well, everyone else tried to help out Denki in the beginning when he couldn't walk up the wall, and everyone had like a million different ways to do it. Chocho was like, you gotta be stylish, and then it's like, well, you just gotta know about chakra networks, and you just gotta focus really hard. And it was like, that's a bunch of stuff at once, and I really don't understand it. And I really love that idea, and it allowed for them to, even Boruto was kind of pushed out of the episode. Of course, he shows up a little bit, he gives everybody, like spicy burgers and stuff. But I like that idea. I was like, okay, this also, I think this is a nice sort of prologue to what we're going to be getting with Sato's story coming up, where it's like, this is how it works when we decide to push Boruto like off to the side a bit, and we focus on the other characters. And it was still really entertaining, as long as it's just fun with those characters. It really doesn't matter if Boruto's there. Plus, he's a lot like his dad, which is like the whole point is that he's not supposed to be, but he really is. So I think it works for sure. It's just like, this is just fun to watch these characters. So I really enjoyed the way that it worked once they officially decided to, team up and help each other out. And then, of course, when it gets to the ending, it's like, all right, we got to get to our exams. And naturally, they come across a situation that allows for them to use all of their skills. And I really love that. I was like, that's pretty awesome. I was glad we got to see Iwabe actually use the mud wall, because I'm like, we saw that when he basically like first showed up. It was like, okay, he uses like earth style jutsu. When they did the boys versus girls, he does like a little, like a curved mud wall sort of thing. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. I'm glad we got to see him do the mud wall, because that's just something like none of the kids really show off elemental stuff outside of Mitsuki. He has like, I think it was, well, he can do a bunch of different stuff, so I guess he doesn't have a specific element just yet. He can use a bunch of different styles. But for Iwabe, it's like, earth style or, mud style. And I thought that was cool. So I was like, that's pretty awesome. I'm glad we got to see that, even if it was like, for half a second. But we also got to see Denki in the Rock Lee / Metal Lee exercise outfit, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, because it just took me back to like the original series when they did that for Naruto. And it was, it was Guy and Lee, and they were training, and I'm pretty sure this had to have been like a filler, but I know it's in like one of the video games, and they were like, you trained with us, so here's one of the outfits, and we see Naruto like in the outfit, and in this episode, Denki uses it because it's like, it'll help you with your training and stuff, and it's used from like the most, modern ninja technology and all that, and he puts the outfit on. I was like, that is absolutely hilarious to me. It just instantly took me back like years and years to those episodes when Naruto got that outfit. And I think he only wore it in like one episode ever. And like I said, it's like in the video games as well, like one of the old Ultimate Ninja games. I think it's in like the second Ultimate Ninja game. He's got like the training outfit. But it was really funny to see that on a different character. I was like, that's actually kind of awesome. So we get to see Rock Lee training with his son and training with Denki, and he saves Denki because he's trying to like do the rock climbing and stuff. But it was pretty cool. Like, I like them training separately, like I said, them coming together, and then, teaming up to, like, basically go in and save these kids from a burning building. And Denki ends up running up the wall. He gets inside. Iwabe uses his normal abilities, but as he's trapped on the stairwell with the little girls, he realizes there's a fuse box, and that's why, you know, the sprinklers aren't going off. So he's working on it just as Denki gets in there, who, he has a pretty cool moment, actually. I like the part where the whole hallway was on fire, and he actually, like, it was almost like Sonic. It made me think of Sonic, honestly, because he, like, went all the way around, like, in a spiral. I was like, it makes me think of Sonic. But I thought that was cool. Like, you know, he really used his abilities. It wasn't just like he ran straight up. Like, he went all the way around and everything, which is about the same, because it's, you know, it's not like he's running on water. But I was like, that's pretty cool. And, you know, of course, Iwabe uses his skills. He turns on the sprinkler, and ultimately they end up saving the girls. Like, Iwabe carries 2, Denki carries 1, and they rescue the girls, and then they freak out because they're like, man, we missed the exams. So, you know, we're kind of screwed. But of course, you know, they end up talking to Shino, and he's like, oh, well, you know, they explain the whole story to him, and it's like, you guys passed. Like, the whole point of the exams and, you know, the test is so that you guys utilize, you know, these skills in real world situations, which you both did. Denki obviously was using ninjutsu to run up the walls. Iwabe used, like, his mental faculties to actually turn, you know, fix this fuse box and turn on the sprinkler. So ultimately they do end up passing, and that was fairly obvious. But I just like that moment. You know, they were freaking out, like, you know, please let us take the exam next year and let us, you know, stick around. But I thought it was cool. I really like that. This is super random. I don't know if you guys noticed the characters in the background, but one dude had just like super wide eyes. He just looked shocked the whole time. It was like him and this super buff dude who made me think of Wolverine. I was like, I don't know why they drew those characters that way, but they really stuck out in the background. And they weren't moving, so the guy wasn't blinking. His eyes were just like this, and they were almost like they're almost like Byakugan eyes. Like, he had no pupils. They're just like big wide eyes. I was like, why did they make the characters look like that? Because they stood out so much to me. I don't know if that was just me or, you know, if other people noticed it, but I'm like, that one dude looks like he's freaked out because his eyes, he's just looking like this, and there's like no pupils or anything. So it's super funny to me during like this serious moment. I'm like, what the F is up with these two guys in the background? So it kept making me laugh. But I actually enjoyed this episode. Like I said, it really turned around for me, because I thought for sure it was just going to be everybody trying to help Denki and Iwabe. And I thought that would be kind of annoying, because it's like everybody saying the same thing, like, oh, you guys just have to do this and do that. And when you get episodes like that, it gets annoying, because it's not only annoying for the characters, where it's like, oh, you guys helping isn't helping, but we have to see that it's not helping, and we hear the same thing from like 8 different characters. It's like, man, this is just annoying to really watch, for, especially just, it's only like, you know, 20-something minutes. So it's like, I don't want to see that for 20 or so minutes where they're struggling and everybody's trying to help them succeed and that sort of thing. But ultimately, you know, they kind of push everybody else to the side, and, you know, these two guys who have like polar opposite, you know, issues, they help each other, and ultimately they succeed. So I thought that was really cool. I like the way that it ultimately worked out. Once again, just like with somebody, it's like, all right, well, they don't fail, so they're still in the show. How is this going to play out once it gets to, you know, Boruto, the movie stuff, and Sato's story? Of course, that's mostly outside of the village, so that's kind of easy to get rid of everybody there. But it was like, all right, so they do ultimately end up passing. Who's gonna, you know, be on their team is another big question. But I like this episode. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next episode. It seems like it's going to be kind of filler. It doesn't seem like it's actually going to be kicking off Sato's story. It seems like it's kind of going to start her story, but ultimately it's like something that wasn't actually in the manga, and it's her like delivering this random thing. So I'm like, oh, we'll see how this goes. But one thing I didn't realize during last week's episode, when they showed like the full, the new actual ending, which is like, you know, her story coming up, I didn't realize this, but she has her original costume. So I was super excited for that. I don't know exactly what that means, if we're going to get her original costume, or if they just weren't paying attention when they did it, because they're like, all right, you know, they were just copying, you know, images from the manga. But technically, the costume she has now in the anime, with like the ascot and like the short skirt or whatever, apparently that's her new costume, because in the manga they have that as well. And I remember when I was reading the manga, I was like, okay, and I think I mentioned this before during my reviews, I always assumed that she would have this costume. It was like, okay, they gave her a new costume for when she's in the academy, and then when she goes into like the 3-man squad stuff, she'll have her original outfit from like the one-shot manga that she had. Well, I can't call it one-shot, but her, you know, her special manga, and from the Boruto movie, which I always thought looked really cool. It was like kind of a blend between Sakura's outfit and Sasuke's outfit. Like, she has like, you know, kind of the blue and red, and it's more burgundy than red. But I was like, I really like that outfit. It's simple, but it fits her character. And then she's got like, you know, the short skirt and like the little hot pants or whatever they're actually called, Spanx, I think that's what they're called. And it's like, you know, it's a weird outfit. It doesn't even fit her character. It's not like a subtle outfit. And based on the ending, maybe she will actually get that in the anime. So I'm hoping. That's just what I'm hoping for. Like, they actually do have her go back to her original outfit that she had before, which personally I always thought looked way cooler than what she has now, which makes me feel like it's something out of like, you know, the 50s or 60s, like she's a stewardess or something on a flight, because she's got like that ascot, like the short outfit. So I'm hoping that with the ending that we actually have now, we will actually get to see Sadara switch back to her original costume from her original manga and the Boruto movie, because I just think it looks way cooler. It's even, if I remember right, that's the costume she has in the Ultimate Ninja Storm game as well, for when she came out as like a DLC character. It's not the costume she currently has in the anime and in the manga, unless they switched it recently, because I'm not caught up. But it's the original outfit that she had when it was like Boruto the movie. So I'm like, I really hope that that's the outfit they stick with, and that seems to be what they're doing with the anime, even if they don't do it with the manga. You know, like I said, I'm not caught up, so I don't know if they've decided to switch that, because there was a bit of fan outrage, which made a bit of sense to me. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But I didn't notice that last week, but I was like, man, I definitely want to talk about that, because that had me excited when I realized that's her original outfit. That's not her in like the bright red jacket with the yellow scarf or ascot that she's wearing. So looking forward to that. You know, we'll see how that actually plays out, if that's just a nod to the manga. I hope it's not, because that would also be really weird, where it's like, you know, especially for people that may not have read the manga, it'd be like, where did this random costume come from for Sadara if she's not ever wearing it in the anime? So I'm hoping that they didn't screw up, and that we will actually see her go back to her original costume, which personally I just think looks way cooler. But we just have to wait and see at this point. But I definitely wanted to talk about that, because it was a big deal to me, because aside from the fact that obviously we're going into her story for the, you know, her manga chapters, we are possibly getting her in her original costume. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope it's permanent. Honestly, like I said, I like her original costume more than her current one, so I'm hoping it's a permanent change, but ultimately we'll just have to wait and see. But definitely wanted to talk about that after, you know, kind of wrapping up everything that happened in the episode, which I feel was easy to talk about. It was like, you know, it didn't work, and then at the end they teamed up and everything was fine. So it was like, I feel like there weren't a ton of specific elements to talk about. It was just like a couple of little things in there. So felt like I should spend a bit of time on what I realized with the ending. But like I said, I did enjoy this episode for sure. Definitely surprised me, because it just started off so normal. It just started off where I was like, I feel like this would be less important than I thought, and then it became just as relevant as I was hoping it would be before, and even more relevant really, based on the way things played out with Iwabe and Denki actually utilizing their skills in the real world. So it actually made it even more entertaining, because I just assumed they're going to do everything and then they're going to pass the test, it'll be fine, and it'll be super happy and whatever. But it was like, this is actually much, much cooler. You know, they sacrifice, you know, seemingly for themselves, they sacrifice their time to actually pass and, you know, graduate, go to the next level to save lives. And then ultimately that's the point of being a shinobi anyway. So naturally they pass. So I just really love the way that all played out. And like I said, I wanted to spend a bit of time talking about the ending, now that I realized Sadara is in her original costume as well. But of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And now that we are going into an episode with Sadara, I would love to know what you guys want to see. Whether it's, you know, stuff from the manga or just, you know, brand new stuff in general. I would just love to know what you guys want to see, because she hasn't really had any time. So I'm glad that the next episode does focus on her, and it does seem to have Chocho in there. So this definitely seems like it's going to be the beginning of going into like that manga story that, you know, we're actually getting into, which is going to be like the second big arc for the series. So very excited for that. I assume the next episode will mostly be filler, and when it gets to like the end of the episode, that's how they'll tie everything into like, you know, going into like those manga chapters and like the next big arc. But I feel like, based off what I saw at least, the next episode isn't going to be that big of a deal, but at least it'll focus on Sada and Chocho, and it'll kind of ease us into those manga chapters. But I'm still excited for it, even if the next episode is going to be a bit of a filler. But we'd love to know what you guys want to see from Sada's character and Chocho's character as well, since we haven't gotten too much out of them. We got way more Chocho, which I still find insane to me. Is like, you know, considering where Sada is about to rank as far as importance to the series, it's so crazy that it was just like, whatever. But it does give us a lot of time to see the other characters, because once the teams form, I guess everyone else is going to be really irrelevant. So in a sense, this is actually kind of good, because we never got that with Naruto, really. Like, even when they were in school, it was all flashbacks where we got to see like Naruto hanging out with the rest of the guys and stuff. But when that series started, it was like, here are your 3 main characters. Here's Kakashi as their leader. Everyone else shows up during the tuning exams, and that was pretty much it. So, in a sense, it's kind of like that, you know, you gotta kind of balance it out, because like in one regard it's really cool, but in another regard it's like, I kind of want to see these characters who we know are going to be important get the relevance early on, but everybody else, I guess, is about to get pushed to the curb anyway, so I guess it does make sense to give them some focus for now. But like I said, want to know what you guys want to see from Sada and Chocho in the next episode, and just going forward in general. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.